Shipra.
And it's Shivam.
And welcome to Washington.
We're here for a few days over the Independence Day long weekend to check out 3 different national parks: North Cascades, Rainier, and Olympic, as well as hopefully get some good food and meet some friends.
So our first stop is at the Lake Diablo Overlook, which you can see back here in North Cascades National Park. An interesting fact about this park is that it's actually one of the least visited parks in the United States. And turns out there's actually no entry fee. We were looking for the entrance today and we couldn't find it. And another interesting fact about this park is that this park has more glaciers than Glacier National Park. And we're hoping to visit that later this year as well.
So another fun activity to do here is actually go swimming or paddleboarding. So there's an area down here that we actually drove by that you're able to access the water directly. And there's also a trail back that way where you can go to the edge of the water as well. Unfortunately, Shipra still does not know how to swim.
It's fine, I'm gonna learn. It'll happen.
So
now I have a ton of free time. I can learn.
But maybe we'll head down a little bit later and try and just dip our feet in. Although I hear the water's supposed to be pretty cold.
Yeah. So our next stop in the park is at the Blue Lake Trailhead. This trail is about 4 miles round trip and leads to the Blue Lake, which is supposedly a very scenic lake. This is actually one of the most popular hikes in the park, so we're excited to see what it's like.
So driving through this park, Shipra and I were both really impressed. The views look exactly like Banff. You have these really tall mountains with glaciers on top and these really high trees in practically every direction. The one nice thing about this park though is that it has been so quiet. Parking is really easy to find and it doesn't seem like there's much of a crowd. I think this owes to the fact that this is one of the least visited national parks in the country, but I don't know why, because it seems fantastic to me.
Okay, so this place is really nice. It is a bit of an uphill hike, so be prepared for that. It starts off kind of gradual and then it starts getting higher. There's a lot of really beautiful views, but bring bug spray. There's a lot of bees, flies, and all sorts of other insects here. And I got bit by something on my finger and now my finger's all swollen. So I'm excited to get to the water so that I can dump my fingers in the water for some relief so that this swelling goes down.
So the further up we get, it's still pretty warm actually. It's still around like 75 degrees or something. And there's still snow up here, somehow. But we're getting really close to the peak now. So I think the lake is somewhere up here. And it's just the views around are amazing. It's extremely underrated. I don't know why no one comes here because these views are just too good.
If you look far into the distance, it's interesting. Like there's so much diverse landscape. There's like the mountains with the trees, and then you've got like the peaks that have the snow, but then right under that you've got like a really grassy plain. So I feel like it's giving Dolomite vibes.
So after a more difficult second part of the hike, we made it to the Blue Lake. It's not exactly blue from this angle, but if you see it from above, it's extremely blue. From here, we're actually just seeing like very see-through. But the view is amazing with the canyon coming down and the glacier water melting into this lake and running all the way down the mountain. I don't think I've seen such an amazing sight since some of the lakes over in the Dolomites actually, and I think this actually outnumbers that. Shipra is unimpressed by this view. Why is that, Shipra?
I was just saying that I've seen better on Instagram.
Have you been to those places on Instagram?
No. No, it's good. I like it. I mean, it's cool to see a lake at such high elevation. I kind of wish we would have brought our like bathing suits. I feel like I wonder how cold the water is. Well, it's a bit chilly up here. Right?
Yeah. I think the water's probably around 60 degrees or something.
So it's probably pretty cold.
Yeah.
Another 2 hours to get back to our car.
I think it'll be less on the way down.
It's downhill.
Yeah.
It'll be quicker.
So to wrap up our day here at North Cascades National Park, we are back at Diablo Lake after that really amazing hike up to the Blue Lake. So we're here at the lake to check out the beach area right next to the water because we weren't able to do that at the overlook before. But it was a really amazing park. I would definitely come again to try and do some more trails. I don't think we had too much of an opportunity to do that today because we had a late start this morning due to our flight coming in really late at night last night. But overall, fantastic national park. I think it definitely ranks very highly for me now.
So this morning we were up over there at the overlook. And when I was up there, I was like, wow, look, there's like a little beach down there. Let's go check out the beach. So we came over to the beach area and it's not really a beach. It's more like just rocks everywhere. So not the most impressive beach, but this is a good access point if you want to go canoeing or you want to go paddleboarding here. I think if I visit back, I would like to do that because this lake looks really nice and the water's really calm. So I feel like it would be like a really calm paddleboarding experience. But yeah, don't come for the beach. So So overall, I really enjoyed this park. It's a few hours north of Seattle, but it's an easy drive. And even despite the fact that it's 4th of July, it's not very crowded. And I really appreciated that because we were able to really get out there, do some hiking, and it was just so quiet and we were able to enjoy the nature. So I would highly recommend this place.
So now we begin our trek back to the hotel. It's going to take about 2 hours to get back. After we get there, there actually should be some 4th of July fireworks tonight. Shipra does not like fireworks, but I think they're fun to watch. So hopefully we can get a nice view. They should be over the water. Good morning or good afternoon, really. It's currently about 3 p.m. the next day. Last night we ended up watching the fireworks show over at the bay next to the hotel. Shipra, what did you think of that?
It's good. They were late. They started like 30 minutes late, but they were good.
Yeah. Shipra doesn't like fireworks, but those ones weren't too loud, and it was really cool to see like the reflection of the fireworks over the water, especially while the sun was still like really setting at like 10:30 p.m.
The sun sets really late here.
Yeah, but that was a lot of fun. So then we woke up this morning. We had a reservation for Rainier National Park, and the reservation's for 1, and it is currently 3 because we are waiting in line.
Yeah, there's been a lot of traffic. We left at 10 a.m. and it took us about 3 hours to get to this area, and then we've been waiting in a super long line.
So hopefully we'll get there soon. Hopefully
we're
they let us in.
coming up on some sort of an entrance sign, so hopefully this is the end.
Yeah. So we just made it to our first stop after entering the park, realizing that reservations are not required after 3 p.m. And
Joke's on us.
It took us till 3 p.m. to actually even get to the entrance, which was really annoying. But right here is Myrtle Falls, I believe, which is a small little waterfall going under a bridge. It's actually got a lot of pressure to it. Shipra, what do you think of it?
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. So there's a lot of waterfalls in Mount Rainier National Park, and our next stop is at Narada Falls. It's a very short hike, so let's go check out the viewpoint.
This waterfall is super impressive. I think there's a lot of water coming off the glaciers right now because we're at peak summer, but the throughput of this water is insane. And it's actually spraying up all over here. We can't go too close to that side, otherwise the camera's gonna get all wet. But I think we might go in there for almost like a little bit of a dip, if you say.
Going down there was so much fun. I feel like it felt like I was in like a water park or something. It's really nice. The cold mist feels really refreshing because it's so hot outside.
It was hardly even 5 minutes down to the bottom of that viewing point, so well worth the hike. So next up, we're gonna head to the park's main attraction, which is the Skyline Trail. So that trail's a little bit further distance from here, about 5 more miles, but it has incredible views of the park, the mountain, and even a couple more waterfalls, so it should be fun to check out.
This is such a beautiful place. There's like a nice trail that's leading us to a fall, and then there's so much snow in the background, even despite the fact that it's 85 degrees outside. So it's been fun to take pictures in the snow, because I actually haven't seen snow in a really long time. But it also reminds me of like the old school Bollywood movies with all the poses in the snow, kind of like DDLJ.
This place is so beautiful, but not as beautiful as my lovely wife, Shipra.
I like it a lot here. This is my favorite trail so far.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
We just made a quick stopover at the visitor center to park and then walked up here on the Skyline Trail, and now we are on our way to Myrtle Falls.
They also have ice cream at the visitor center that Shivan's gonna get for me later.
I don't know about that. Myrtle Falls viewpoint, extremely beautiful, but extremely crowded. I think the waterfalls are really impressive with the view of the mountain in the background, but not a lot of space to get a good picture. So opposite of the viewpoint of Myrtle Falls is this nice bridge area where you're actually able to get a look at the water close up, and again the mountain in the background. It definitely provides a different perspective, but I think the overlook is actually a little bit better just because you get the perspective of the waterfall actually coming down the mountain. So interestingly, Rainier National Park is actually one of the few national parks where they actually have cell towers. So we actually have full bars here. Shipra is taking full advantage, checking Slack on the bridge right next to this amazing viewpoint. Does that make the Slack a little bit better, Shipra?
It does, yeah.
Work a little bit more bearable?
Yeah.
So we got really lucky today because there's actually no clouds around Mount Rainier, so we have a completely unobstructed view. Usually there's actually a lot of clouds, so we got very lucky this time around that 3 hours of driving didn't go to waste. Otherwise it would have been a lot like my disaster over at the Matterhorn in Switzerland, where we drove quite a distance only to turn around and go back to Italy.
Oh my gosh, there's too many here. We need to move.
Shifra's getting scared of the bees.
Look, okay, so when I was a kid, okay, I was at a water fountain. There's literally one on your head right now. Literally, it's sitting on your head. It's not even moving. Saying that one time when I was a kid, we were at High Banks Metro Park and I went to the water fountain and I was just thirsty and I was just trying to get a drink of water. I put my hand on the water fountain and I get stung by this massive bee and I still have a mark from it. It's like this red mark right here. You won't be able to see it, but yeah, also I'm really scared of bees.
Shipra, how does this compare to North Cascades Park, which we visited yesterday?
I think it definitely has like more of a diverse landscape, which is pretty cool. I can definitely see why this is one of the more popular parks, but I still think that they're both worth a visit.
I think this park versus North Cascades, yes, I think if you want a really cut and dry, nice picture that's very quick off the parking lot, this is a good place to come. I think if you have small kids or a family or something like that. But I think if you're looking for some unique hiking experiences as well as something that's a lot calmer and a lot less crowded, North Cascades is definitely the way to go.
So our last stop here in Mount Rainier National Park is the Reflection Lake. So you can see that behind us there's a really nice view of the mountain and then also there's a lake. And I think at certain times of the day you can actually see a reflection of the mountain in the lake.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful place. I think we're just here at the wrong period of time. I think if you're here early mornings or middays or something like that, you're able to get that full reflection. But it's still a really beautiful view.
Good morning. So last night we had some good Indian food. We stopped in, I think, like somewhere south of Seattle at a place called Kanishka, which is pretty popular here. There's a location in Redmond as well. And I would say it was like about a 7 out of 10. It was like reasonable Indian food. I've definitely had better. But that might be, that's what people were saying was the best. So maybe that's the best that Washington has to offer. I don't know. Maybe there are some other better places as well.
Yeah, that's just what the consensus on Reddit was, so we went there.
Yeah, and the consensus on Reddit was that the Redmond location was good. And actually, we're going to the Redmond location tonight because we're meeting a friend there, so that's kind of funny.
So today we decided we're not actually going to go to Olympic National Park on this trip because it ended up being quite a distance away. So there was a ferry ride we had to take with the car, and then it was just turning into a whole thing so that it would basically end up being 9 hours of driving in one day. So we turned around and we have come to a place that's a little bit closer to us. We are at Rattlesnake Lake, which is a very popular hike here. So basically this is a few mile trail up and then it takes you to a viewpoint over a really nice blue lake. It's extremely popular. We actually just found out as we were trying to park, there's hundreds of cars here already. So it might be a little bit crowded of a trail, but it should be a fun stopover for today.
And I think the theme for this trip is Blue Lakes.
Yes, indeed it is.
Well, if you come here in the summertime, you should definitely bring some swimsuits because it looks like there's a lot of people swimming in this lake. We didn't bring our swimsuits. I think we're mostly focused on hiking for this trip. But given how hot it is, like 90 degrees outside, this would be a great place, I think, to cool off. And the water seems like it's pretty shallow, at least to begin with, so it would be good for kids as well.
The initial parts of this trail are very serene. You got some nice shade coming in, the sun's hitting just at the right angles, and it's a nicely paved path as well. So one thing we did miss out at Olympic National Park today was seeing kind of the mossy trees in the rainforest. We do get to see a little bit of it, luckily today. You can see a little bit of moss on these trees. Not the same effect, but hey, it's a little bit of a consolation.
So we finally made it to the end of the trail. It is uphill pretty much the entire way. We finally made it to the end. Now we're gonna walk up the stairs and let's go see the viewpoint.
So the hike up here was pretty difficult, I would say, because of the entirety of uphill, but the view is well worth it. I actually didn't know we were gonna be coming up so much elevation, but we came from all the way down there, and I'm actually getting a little scared just looking down because I'm very fearful of heights. But this view, outstanding. And the blue right now, with the sun hitting it right from the top, because we're kind of right here in the middle of the day, you know, it makes it all the more special.
So we just finished up the hike and it was a pretty good hike. Like I said before, all uphill, so be prepared for that. Bring a lot of water and food. But, you know, it's around 4 miles round trip, so it's not too bad. Washington is big, so if you fly into Seattle, it is hard to hit all the parks in one weekend because they're all approximately 3 hours distance depending on where you're staying. So it's a lot of driving, and so I appreciated being able to like do something local, and I really enjoyed the hike, so I would actually come back here and bring a bathing suit so I can swim in the lake.
So after wrapping up a pretty exhausting hike at Rattlesnake Lake, we grabbed a couple of smoothies and some avocado toast at a local place.
That was actually pretty good.
It was extremely filling, but the smoothies were not as watery as I'd hoped, but it still hit the spot.
Yeah.
So now we've driven about 15 minutes from the Rattlesnake Lake to an area called Snoqualmie. And this area has a very famous waterfall, which is supposed to be quite large. It has a hike down. I'm not sure if we're going to do that today because we've had quite a bit of hiking already, but it should be very picturesque regardless.
Behind me you can see Snoqualmie Falls. This fall is actually 270 feet in drop, and an interesting fact about this is that it actually powers a hydropower electric plant, which actually supplies energy to a lot of different towns around this area. We're not even down there yet, and that waterfall looks massive.
So Shipra isn't out of steam yet. She wants to do the hike down.
Well, I want to get access to the water. I want to dip my feet in the water, or like just, it looks so clear and really pretty.
And I want to get that view from the bottom too. It looks like Burney Falls kind of, except not as many waterfalls.
They're saying it's a half a mile down.
Yeah.
And it's a little, I mean, it's sloped, meaning on the way back it'll be
tough. Hopefully one water bottle is enough.
One heated, really warm water bottle. Bring a collapsible cooler if you come. You'll make a mistake, and it's really hot.
So I guess coming down to the bottom was definitely a good idea.
Yeah.
Now we can see a rainbow right over here too.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Unfortunately, no waterfall access.
Yeah, that's okay. I think the current here is really strong, so it's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, but we can go check out the river access over there.
Yeah.
The water here is definitely very frigid. I don't think you're going to be able to swim in this one, right, Shipra?
No, I don't think so. Even though it's so hot, it's actually kind of cold down here.
Yeah, I think this water is probably like 50 degrees. Yeah, we're not going to be swimming here. It's not like Puerto
Shivam's
Rico.
going to be swimming. I won't be swimming.
True, I'm not as
He's going to show me his swimming skills.
I'm not as worried about temperature changes as Shipra is.
I like to achieve my homeostasis at all times.
Shipra's a hardcore adventure. She's all the way out there. She doesn't know why she's out there, and she almost lost her sunglasses.
It's funny, Shivam and I always talk about how he's the smarter one in the relationship, and that got proven today. I was having too much fun down by the rocks, and my glasses fell into the water once, and I was able to save them. And he said, Shipra, put your glasses on your face, because if they fall again, you might not be able to find them. I was not smart, and I put them back, like right here on my shirt. And then they fell, and they fell into like a deep hole, and we weren't able to find them. And now my expensive glasses are gone. So, yeah, Shivam gives good advice, and I never take it. I think we signed up for too many uphill hikes today. Brought this water bottle for Shivam and I've drank the entire thing. And conserving this last amount for this uphill that we're going up right now. But I wanted to get exercise, so I was very ambitious today with how many steps. I think we're at like almost 18,000 steps now. Most of which were taken going up a hill. But I like this form of exercise because once you go down on a hike, you make it to the end, you have to come back. So it's like forced exercise.
So the last spot we've come out to today is Redmond. So Redmond is actually kind of my headquarters in a sense. So it's actually most known for being the headquarters of Microsoft. Shipra, how does it feel to be married to a Microsoft employee?
Feels like I'm married to just another man on the street around here.
True. When I look around, I was telling Shipra, like, if you look around, probably most of the people walking around here are employed by Microsoft in some way, shape, or form.
We also went to Microsoft headquarters when we came here last time.
Yeah. Last time we came, we went to Microsoft headquarters. It was pretty nice, actually. I like the headquarters a lot.
Yeah.
Although it does seem like they've done a lot of really good development here in downtown area.
Apparently they're still doing it. Like, I was reading about it. They've done like one section and they're working on another section now.
So Shipra, having spent a little bit more time here in the state of Washington and going around to different suburbs and natural areas, what do you think about living here?
If I had to pick a second place to go outside of California, this could be the place.
Job prospects wise, it's really nice. And what I like about here versus California is that there's so many new developments. I think like things are really coming up here, lots of new housing or new housing opportunities generally.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I think it just feels like a nice area to be in. Only downside is the bugs.
Well, bugs, and then it rains half of the year and it gets pretty cold.
Yeah.
I don't know, we're not used to that kind of weather. But I mean, I think if we lived here, we'd get used to it.
True. But I also don't like the idea of being confined to the house for half the year.
Yeah. When we were here last time, it just rained like for 4 or 5 days straight.
Oh, and it was like 40 degrees every single day.
And that was not even in winter. That was in October. So I can't imagine the winters. Like.
Yeah, I think here during summer.
Summers are beautiful.
Yeah, it's a little hot, but it's really nice.
Yeah. So today is our last day in Washington. We took it pretty easy in the morning. We're gonna go get brunch later now. We just checked out of our hotel, but before we were checking out, we were just looking around the area and we realized that this is actually the perfect wedding venue. We were kind of thinking that like when we saw it from the sides like earlier during this trip, but we decided to finally come check it out, and it's really nice. I think it would be really fit for an Indian wedding. They've got like a perfect mandap in the back, and then they've got a nice little cocktail hour area over here, and they've got an indoor ballroom for a reception space. So yeah, we found the perfect wedding venue after our wedding, but it's a good place to check out if you're planning a wedding.
So we came to this area called Woodinville, which is actually a really nice area. It's super developed, has lots of interesting restaurants along the way. And we came for brunch at a place called the Rusty Pelican. It was overall decent. I think Shipra's a bit done with food for the day, but it was a good experience. And what's funny about this is that Reddit is the place that brought us here. So lately we've been using Reddit a lot for any travels that we have. We're like, okay, if we want to go do something, what is the best brunch place near where we're at? Reddit on Google search. And usually it'll give us a suggestion. So I think it worked out again today.
Yeah. So we just came to the Botanical Garden in Bellevue, and this is a pretty big 53-acre garden. So we're just going to take a stroll and see if there's anything interesting to see.
So Shipra, if you didn't know, is a very big fan of plants. We actually have several at the house. So what do you think of this botanical garden?
It's good. I think it's very peaceful and nice to walk through. We've seen a lot of different types of flowers and greenery. And I think it's interesting, on some of the billboards they're also talking about how like the look and appearance of a garden changes throughout the year, which is pretty cool. The different plants that are in season.
I think this would be a great place to read a book if we actually did read books. Shipra and I are not the biggest of readers.
But we have time now. We can read more books now.
I think I'll just lean more into some audiobooks and podcasts maybe. Reading itself gets me very sleepy. So last time we were in Seattle, we didn't end up taking this Ferris wheel, which Shipra really wanted to do.
Well, when we were here, it was raining, so it wasn't really worth it.
Yeah, it was super cloudy too. But today it is very clear, so we're going to be taking the Ferris wheel around. Are you excited, Shipra? I haven't been on a Ferris wheel in such a long time. I think the last time I actually went on one was State Fair in San Diego or something. But I think the view at the top should be pretty good. We're basically stuck at the bottom right now, and hopefully we get stuck at the top at some point.
I don't like heights and Ferris wheels, but I'm being brave today.
I think we just hit the top. Shipra is too scared to even look around, so I'm not sure why she was so interested in going on a Ferris wheel.
I'm fine. I just don't like the idea of being suspended in air.
And yet here you are wanting to go on a Ferris wheel so badly.
It's for the vibes.
3 things I was surprised by doing this. 1, the line wasn't actually that long. 2, the tickets weren't that expensive. It was only $20 a person. And 3, this is actually doing a lot more than 1 revolution around. So it's actually a little bit better of an experience than I would have thought, for such a highly trafficked tourist destination in Seattle. So the Great Wheel was our last activity here in our long weekend in the greater Seattle area. It was a really fun weekend exploring national parks and other trails. I had a lot of fun. It was a very cool place. It was a little bit hot, but overall an awesome weekend.
Yeah, and a fun way to start off our wedding.
Yeah.
We'll see you in the next one.